Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Wednesday in the Rev.
After a city council meeting.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, of course we can start on a Bank Street Armory, but it was a travesty. We've spent what $392,000 on that armory,
Something like
and
that.
and he sells it for 200 grand to one of his pals. So
He
um,
robbed from the taxpayer. He's a thief,
again,
and so is the city council. The city council is a
again,
bunch of thieves, except for one person, Michelle Dion, who brought it forward that the building took over almost $400,000 in money from the city taxpayer. That's you and I, the city taxpayer. $400,000. And he's giving the building away to a political campaign supporter for $200,000 because if it was made into an entertainment center like the people want, it will affect the Narrows in the Black Box Theater.
who's another political ally.
Exactly,
He
and I
doesn't.
found out where the Black Box
And
Theater is.
look, that's illegal. This is a capitalistic society. We can't do that. Well, look, everybody knows it. This is a classic example of how they don't care about anything or anybody except taking care of their friends and making money. So this is the thing. You're going to worry about it's a business. What's the next thing? Is Paul going to make a deal with CVS to close all the Walgreens and not allow anything to be built to compete with CVS? I mean, this is outrageous. Okay, this is outrageous. There's no consideration at all for the people. And please forgive my attire. I've been running around trying to get my Wi-Fi connection up. I did something and pressed the wrong button, so I had to reboot everything, and we barely made it under the wire to get on the show. So I don't have my official Spindle City Straight Talk shirt on. I got my cutoff shirt that I was working in the yard with. That's it. So you can see my shoulders. So, but that's it. But
Well,
listen, go ahead.
I got to cut you off there. Here's the thing. Matt Como wants to buy this building for $200,000, giving the bruta to the people of Fall River. The mayor gave the bruta to the people of Fall River. Joe Camara gave the bruta to the people of Fall River. Linda Pereira gave the bruta to the people of Fall River. All thieves, every one of them. Every one of them that voted yes is a thief. They stole money from the taxpayers. Okay? That building should have at least been sold for what was put into it, so that money could go back to the CPA and back to the city. Don't keep screwing the taxpayer because you want to keep your friends happy, Paul, because that's what you're doing.
And did not Michelle ask for the assessed value of the property?
Yes, he did.
And let's see what the assessed value is. Another deal to get what? More of what we need. Paul, can you document that every single market rate housing unit is full? And we need thousands more. We got thousands of people you're pushing out. This is ridiculous. It just highlights his insensitivity. They don't care. They do not care. They got money and they don't give a shit.
Right, but here's what gets me. It's going to cost 13 point some odd $1 million for that building to be rehabbed, to be made into market rate housing. Okay? Matt Combs only coming up with $5.1 million. The rest is coming from the taxpayer. Again. It's coming from you, the taxpayer. Now, why couldn't the city use their money, their offer money, to take $13 million and make that into an entertainment center? Why couldn't they do that? What's the problem?
Well, they had $7 million they blew. They had $7 million they blew on fancy lights and benches, which we were going to get anyway, but not the fancy ones.
Right.
$7 million on a DeVore. Listen, I'm sick of talking. This is so outrageous. Let's see how this plays out, because I'm going to tell you, this is the. I mean, if you wanna defecate all over the taxpayer, they better get to the polls. It's that simple. You got to get out there and vote. If you're pissed off, and you should be pissed off, get to the polls and don't wait for the final. Get in the primary. Send a message to these people. You're tired of being crapped on. They don't care. Everybody they know gets money. Oh, we need money for this. Oh, the boxing gym, this, that, the other thing. Everybody except the poor people, everybody except the people who can't pay their, are having difficulty paying their rents, having difficulty buying food, which is the majority of people, not only in the city of Fall River, but in the United States. And just like the Biden administration doesn't give two craps about them, our mayor doesn't give two craps about you. So get out there and show them. Don't say there's nothing I can do. There's something you can do. When you band together and vote, send a damn message. You want change in this city. You do not want these entitled elitists that are sitting on a council, except for Michelle. You never hear the word taxpayer uttered until Michelle says it. Yesterday, she talked about the taxpayer and this issue. Nobody cares. It's not their money. They don't care. Blow 392,000 on that building, CPA money, your money. I always say why I don't like the CPA. Here's a classic example. They gave them not money for a roof, not once, but twice. No accountability why the first money wasn't used for the roof, where it went, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now you give a bargain basement price to your pal. And then you not only give them a bargain basement, you ignore what the people wanted to do with that facility because you wanted to protect your other pals. Who the hell ever heard in the United States that's supposed to be a capitalistic society? We're supposed to practice capitalism. And everybody knows that competition breeds better prices for the consumer and better products. Because that's what it is. It's what the market will bear. But no, and who owns that? Oh, the son of a state senator. Oh, the guy that always had a political job. Oh, is that right? But we got to protect him. Well, you know something? Maybe we shouldn't build any more drugstores. Drive down Plymouth Avenue. Count the Walgreens, the CVS's, drive around the city, a couple of Rite Aids. See how many pharmacies there are in the city of Fall River. Is there a law to stop building pharmacies? Maybe Paul can get one. Make a deal with one of them, Paul. Line your pockets. Make some more of your friends rich. Who knows? This is an obscenity. This is an obscenity. What they've done with this building. And there are a lot of people that are going to be pissed off about this. Because a lot of people utilize that building at some point in their life. It has history here. As I said, I played basketball in a National Guard basketball league when I was 11 and 12 with a lot of people who are well known in this community. Barry Machado, Gary Druniak, Woody Berraby, all these guys. They all played ball down there. And I think the Herons played down there. I think the league was still down there. But it's got a lot of history. It's part of this community. But no, the richie got to get richie. So you know something with that, I've had enough about this subject. We've got other stuff to talk about, like our last show, which got a lot of good feedback.
Well, I have one thing to say, okay? He's starting out this project with $8 million equity in this purchase. $8 million equity. So why wouldn't a bank give him a $5 million loan? $8 million equity. Why? Because the taxpayers are footing the bill. This is what Carol Fiola's HDIP program is doing. It was supposed to generate more housing, but it didn't say what type of housing. This is why Commonwealth Magazine says it's a failure. We're not the only ones that say it's a failure. Commonwealth Magazine says it's a failure. They're a nonprofit organization. They publish a daily column. I get it every day. I read it. And guess what? They say the politicians are just that. Politicians. They're taking care of their friends and they're taking care of themselves. And this is how theft happens. This
And
should be illegal. This should be investigated. The FBI should come in and see whose lines were pocketed. Because I'm going to tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, Paul and the entire city council, Sans, Michelle Dion, are all thieves. They've all stolen the taxpayer money. And that's it.
no, you're right. But remember, we'll close with this. It's not about what you just said, which is absolutely accurate, in my opinion. But remember, Carol Farlow's own husband proved the uselessness of the HDIP plan when he said even people with vouchers won't be able to afford the rents in these places. So there you go. Useless program. They don't care. They don't care. So let's get the our last show. We got a lot of good reviews. Some, of course, some of our detractors were not happy. There were comments about, the style and what happened. So I know our favorite viewer talked about softball questions. So let me explain something to that amoeba, because this was not a question and answer period. This wasn't a debate. He wasn't here to explain his platform. He was here to answer an allegation that was made by an anonymous individual and challenge him to come on and debate the issue and give his side of the story. So there was no necessity to ask tough questions, because it's not about tough questions. It was Sam Sutter's position that anonymous post was a fabrication and not had no merit. And he explained himself and he challenged him to come on. And as we always do, we said, if he wants to come on, he's welcome to come on. If he wants to debate Sam face to face, we'll arrange that also, because it is germane. But that was it. It's got nothing to do with softball questions. Listen, people know us. We don't shy away from hard questions. We've butted heads. Sam and I butted heads when he was the mayor about issues, and because that's just our makeup. We're gonna ask the tough questions, whether you like them or not, when they're appropriate, not just to satisfy your amoeba brain. And but the show went. What's great about it, we can go longer. It went well. I think we will be doing a lot of these kind of shows. We'll be bringing people on. I guess CJ, you said Jordan Sylvia wanted to come on, and he is obviously welcome to come on. And we will have as many candidates as possible, and we will extend the invitations even to candidates who probably will not show up, like Laura Washington and Linda Pereira and all these other people. But we want the people. Look, we don't tell you how to vote. We give you our opinion. We tell you to do your homework, and we give you what we feel. We feel that there's a change in Fall River is absolutely necessary, because just look at what's happening now. The taxpayer and the people of Fall River have just been left behind. Nobody except Michelle Dion cares. They talked about the healthcare money. I want to know what happened to all the healthcare money for the last 4 fiscal years that Paul's been in. I sent them all that number, and I think Michelle might be asking those questions again. These glasses are driving me crazy because I got we'll go with the reflection of the back wall. But, ask some questions about what happened to all this money, because we're talking millions. We're not talking chump change here. We're talking millions, and we're talking double digit. and the final numbers are in, and hopefully we'll talk about that. But that's what we're doing here. We're not here to make anybody happy. We're here to try to put out information, give you our opinion, which we're entitled to. Not try to. We don't want to take anybody off the air. The amoeba can stay on the air all he wants and babble, smoke pot, do whatever he does on his show. I don't know. I don't care, frankly. He worries about us. I don't worry about him because he's irrelevant. So that's the key. And the show we will do what we always did from our first show 12 years ago. We'll follow the money and we'll call the balls and strikes like we see them. But we have to get into another issue here. I don't know if you were aware of it. I guess someone called a local radio station, Radio Pravda, and it was about the show we had with Sam, saying that what does he think he is? He's going to go to the crime scenes. He can't do that. And of course, the host of that show, of course, immediately agreed. That's right. Or, who does he think he is? And to say he'll do that, that's, and of course, and they piled on and with all the clones. So isn't it amazing when people who have never ever gone to never been in an emergency situation decide they're gonna now weigh in on this and what can and can't be done? And then of course our friend at WSAR actually came on and said, "Oh, so you'll wipe your eyes and pull up your big boy pants or your pants." And so I'm going to extend the same thing. Put on your big boy pants because now you're going to get a dose of reality. Because the used car salesman and the propagandists at WSAR have never been in charge or been to a major emergency situation in their life. I have. I spent 38 years, in excess of 38 years, on the line. I fought every major fire in this city, from Kerr Mill to Notre Dame. The mayor was at all of them, you morons. The President of the United States is the commander-in-chief, even if he's never been in the military. He has an interest. He's not going to run the battle, but he better be in a room. If you have concern for a city, you will be. Was the mayor of New York City at the incident command center during 9/11? You dips, you absolute imbeciles. You don't think he has a right to be there? He's the chief executive officer of this city. Any mayor does. When we fought Kerr Mill, the mayor was there. When we fought Notre Dame, the mayor was at the command center. They're not going to tell you how to fight the fire or handle the crime, the situation in a school shooting, but they not only can be there, they should be there if they have any investment in their community. I'm not going to tell you how much to charge for your used cars, but you're going to pontificate about if this guy, because you're supporting the other one, obviously doesn't have the right to go there. He doesn't, obviously, as a professional firefighter, I was not going to allow the mayor to tell me how to fight a fire. But I recognize the right that he could be there. He should be there, and he should be asking for status reports on how we're doing. And that's what they do. We even have to do that at a fire scene.
I don't want to chime in here, but Paul attended the scenes of a fire. Remember in the winter? That big fire we had in the winter next to your house. It wasn't too far from your house, was it?
Yep.
And they were having difficulty fighting that fire. Paul drove through the snow and got there. I'm not trying to give him credit, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander, correct?
No, give him credit. I'll give him credit, CJ. I agree. Give him credit for getting out there. That's where he should have been. But that was the first and last time.
True.
So how many times has he been to a critical incident? Does he go to every neighborhood where shots have been fired? Has he shown an investment in the community? No. He went to one major fire. And because of the conditions. So this is the whole key of what we're looking at. These people and the other one, don't wipe your eyes. No, you wipe your eyes. You don't know what you're talking about. Again, you're the person who precipitated frivolous lawsuits. You're the person who, even though you were told by one of your news people that everyone, including our show, has the right to say anything we want about politicians, you just said, I don't care. I'd go see my lawyer. You know what that's doing? That's encouraging frivolous lawsuits. That's what it is. So, there's an old saying. If you don't know what you're talking about, keep your mouth shut. Because if you open it, you'll remove all doubt that you don't know what you're talking about. So, that was the most ridiculous thing to try to make this an issue. Oh, he's saying he's going. He should be. He should be. You don't think that like I said, where was the mayor of New York City at 9/11? At the incident. You don't even know what incident command is. Look it up. I'm not going to explain it to you. You don't have any idea what goes on in an emergency. I know you do. And the thing is that you also know what triage is because you did a lot of it. And these people don't know. Wouldn't it be nice for them to tell you all about what you should do in an emergency nursing situation?
Yeah, sure.
And so all the people with absolutely zero knowledge are going to call and start talking about it just for political reasons. If it was Paul, they'd say, oh, my God, he's such a great mayor. He's so engaged. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Every time a bullet flies, there's Paul worrying about the people of Fall River. But you know where Paul is? He's telling the owner of the house that's got a bullet hole in it, shut up, go away. Not everybody's got a bullet hole in their houses. What's the big deal? You got a bullet hole in your house. So this is what you got. This is what you got for a mayor. And this is what you got for supporters. They don't have anything to campaign on, so they're going to attack everything that everybody says, even if it's factual. And that's their plan. So, ask for what plans are. I haven't seen a plan on anything from Paul, from crime. Look. To anything. So listen, that was ridiculous. Stay in your lane, people. Stay in your lane. Do some homework. You're telling a man who is supposed to be in charge of a city, who is entrusted by the public to provide them with the safest and best city that he can. You're going to tell him he should not go because they don't interfere. You've never been at one. You've never been at one. I was a chief, a permanent chief for 24 years. I acted for a year. So I had 25 years running emergency situations, not just fires, hazmat incidents, bomb scares, you name it, I ran it. You're going to tell me that, if the mayor shows up and says, what's going on, that we don't, he shouldn't be there asking that question? If he cares about the people in the community, he would be there. He should be there. It's not a negative. It's a positive that someone said they would be engaged because that's their job. Like I said, what would it look like if the mayor of New York City didn't show up at the Incident Command Center during 9/11? 346 firefighters died in that building, and I knew a few of them. Over 3,000 civilians died in those towers. What would it have looked like if the mayor didn't show up or do what Paul does? That's the fire chief's job. I'm going to send it over to Catholic Memorial. Don't worry about it. I'm going to delegate everything. I have no responsibility. Even though the buck stops in my office, I'm the mayor. I'm not in the loop. I'm not in the loop. That's what he does. So take it away, CJ. You know this is a sore subject for me, talking about emergencies and critical issues.
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying. And, the problem is that people are attacking these candidates, and it's one candidate, obviously, so far that's come up publicly with any statements. And I've heard comments from people like, well, he said this is a nonpartisan election, but he's talking about Paul getting money from the Republican Party for his mailers. Okay, if that's the case, that's the case. If a Republican PAC, which it may have been Charlie Baker's PAC, I'm not sure, but if he got money from a PAC to do his mailers, that's great. Maybe Sam should go to a couple of PACs and see about getting some money to do a couple of mailers. That's in-kind contribution. They can do as much of that as they want. The party can do as much as they want, no matter what. But you see, this is a nonpartisan election, and it makes it difficult for parties to get involved. Because in this case, we have two Democrats that we know of. I don't know what Vandel's party affiliation is, but we have two Democrats running against each other. Not that that's important. But the thing that is important is I want you to look back 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and almost 4 years now. Are you in a better place today, financially, residentially, emotionally, today than you were before Paul became mayor? And I don't want to hear he did, because he just received an award from South Coast, like it's a big deal, South Coast. Auschwitz in another limelight. But Paul received an award for all the work he did during the pandemic. He ran around giving away masks. He ran around giving people masks. That was a big thing. That wasn't a big thing to me.
Who did he get the award from? The board of directors, most of whom live out of the community and make huge money for doing virtually nothing. And they call that hospital a nonprofit hospital.
Right.
So they can't even be sued above, I think, $250,000. That used to be the max at one time because they're a nonprofit. But I can tell you one thing, the board of directors, just like the board of directors at BCC, they're all appointees, connected, highly connected, real rich people who don't need the money, who are still making a lot of money. All these awards, the award you want to get is from the people in the neighborhoods, from the people in the city saying, we have a safe city. We have safe streets and good schools. We have neither. That's the reality.
And this mayor is trying to destroy the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
He's trying to destroy the neighborhood associations. They took down everything to contact the neighborhood association leaders off the city website. They have nothing there. They say contact the mayor's office. Why? The mayor's just they're useless. Don't bother. You're not going to get a whole lot of information because the mayor is disconnected from the neighborhood associations. And you need the neighborhood associations because that's what makes the fabric of Fall River. And that's what we're talking about here. This election is going to dictate the future fabric of Fall River. And if you want the future fabric of Fall River to be homelessness, poverty, and elitist monarchies, then you're all set. You're going to get it. If you don't want the fabric of Fall River to be that, if you want it to be what we can make it, then you know what? Decide to vote. Decide to make Fall River again. We'll never be like we were in the 70s or the 80s. But let me tell you something. We don't have to be in the 2020s thinking that everyone can afford $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. That's ridiculous.
Well, you're right, because all these elitists they don't care. They don't, we know they don't care. Like I said, remember what Bloomberg said when he talked about the impact of all this inflation that we've been suffering through now for a few years, and it's going to get worse. Can't afford an electric car, take a bus. Can't afford to buy food, eat beans. Can't afford your vet for your dog, let the dog die. That's, and that's why his presidential candidacy lasted about a New York minute. He exposed himself as the reprehensible, insensitive elitist that he is. You really think that they care? Everybody's calling for Trump's tax returns. I'd like to see the Fiola's tax returns. Is she still selling real estate?
She still has a license.
I don't know if she's selling it, but just think of the money they're making right now. I'd like to see. Remember, he was asked once how much he made, and he went, "You can't ask me that. It's private. I don't work for the city." Yeah, I know. If I was him, I'd say the same thing, because we might have a couple of cardiac arrests when they see how much money they're making, and that's the reality. They don't care. They never have cared. I have a book right over there in one of my bookcases, The Untold Story of Labor, where they say very clearly, I'm paraphrasing now, and this was in the 1800s. So remember, now we're in the 2000s, where they said, we don't care who's in the White House. We elected a Republican governor on the West Coast, a Democratic governor on the East Coast. We own all the congressmen and all the senators. We are the rich, and we own this country, and we will never give it up. And here it is in the 2000s. And who runs this city? The rich. And you know why they get to run it? Because the rest of the people don't go and vote. Just like Teddy Roosevelt said in his speech, the reason the Roman Empire deteriorated was the Roman citizens stopped voting and allowed politicians to determine the direction of Rome. And that's exactly what we're doing. You're allowing this mayor and his rubber stamp council to run this city into receivership. And the sad commentary will be that when they do, they're all bailing because they can afford to leave. They'll retire to Florida, they'll retire to wherever, have a summer home one place and a winter home in another place, while you're scratching your butt figuring out what's going to happen when this city goes into receivership. And it's going to, if we stay on this path. But as CJ always tells you, your destiny is in your hands. You are the captain of your ship. Or as it says, I believe in Invictus, I am the captain of my fate. You are. All you have to do is get up. You don't even have to get up anymore. They'll give you a ballot. Just vote.
That's right.
How can 95,000 people with 80,000 or more are suffering uncontrollable tax increases, total insensitivity to their issues like crime and education? They just blame things. Oh, it's the Hispanics. Oh, there's nothing you can do about this. Crime all over. Bullshit. There is an answer to this. It's voting. So let's do what CJ and I always do. Vote. I normally don't vote in a primary, but I always vote normally in a primary in the city because, as he said, This is a nonpartisan election. This has got nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. And I understand why you may have said that. In other words, that's kind of disingenuous to take money from Republicans if you call yourself a Democrat. But like you said, take money wherever you can get it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it. If somebody wants to give you money, that's my philosophy. I'm not speaking for him, but I mean, the reality is that's my philosophy. I was running for something and I needed campaign money. That's why I don't run. I never ran. I've been asked 1,000,000 times to run, but I won't do it because I will not take funds from people I dislike. I won't even pretend I like somebody I dislike. So how can I get votes? Because I'm a misanthrope. So look that up, amoeba. So I am a misanthrope by nature. But the reality is, as you said 1,000,000 times on our show, and you're 100% correct, vote. Your destiny is in your hands. Get out there and vote.
Well, I want to thank you all for watching. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. And I just noticed today that Facebook is actually putting subtitles on our broadcast. So people who have a hearing issue can now watch us on Facebook and get the subtitles, which is a great thing. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day.